Hey everybody, here we have a T54 match with TJ and Inigo. We've landed with another goon on our team, way above par, who will be scouting for us this match. And we are on Fjords. Now, T54, on the west side spawn of Fjords, there's one thing I tend to do more than anything else, which is to run up to the northeast corner by way of the bushes in B7, see if there's anything there, and if it's clear, I like to push in. The enemy team does have two T54s. On paper, one of them is good, one of them is average, but for the most part their team's pretty bad. It's caused the average T54 to start bad-mouthing his team before the game had even started, which is bad form. But as you'll shortly see, he's not exactly a shining beacon of skill himself. So I run up through the north, I'm out in front, way above par, slightly behind me, and TJ's following me up in his IS-8, providing the firepower for our little group up here. Haven't been spotted yet. There we go, there's their scout. They're 1390. My shot unfortunately missed, but he's backing off after he noticed how much firepower was coming his way. Now this is what you need. If you're going to push northeast, you need some support. You cannot do it alone in a medium. You need at least two mediums, top tier, and a heavy, at least. So if there's just one or two mediums up here, don't push. Just try and hold it, try and spot for shit behind you. Now here we go. We got two T54s on a corner along with a T25. T25 is exposed, he's pulled out, so I'll go with the easiest target first. Now the T54s, they're exposing their sides. Notice how their side armor is not flat onto me, but they're showing more side than front. Don't do that in a T54. You need to be showing more front than side. There are two problems with it. First of all, you'll be penned easily. Second of all, those shots will go through, they will crit you. They'll hit your track, they'll hit your fuel tanks, they'll hit your ammo rack. The T54 is easy to crit from the side. You do not want to be showing that off. This guy tries to side scrape. He doesn't realize apparently the T54 really can't afford to side scrape, especially not at the angle he's putting out. If you do try and side scrape in a Soviet medium, you need to be giving very, very little side, but for the most part they're incapable of it. The 430 can do it, the 430 variant 2 can do it. That's about it. Maybe the T54 if you really, really know what you're doing. So here we go. They're not really getting to put out much damage because we're just keeping them cowered behind this corner. They're getting close with this guy. Wait for him to turn his side. There was no point firing while I still had front. I knew he was going to zigzag out and show his side, so I waited for the opportunity. Finish him with a shot to the lower plate. This is how you brawl in a T54. Now I do throw away a couple of hit points to this T25. And then he starts hitting my gun. He's actually firing HE now, which is really stupid of him, but it does break my gun. And the enemy T54 says, like I said, GG. That wasn't all his team's fault. I mean, his team have almost claimed a 1-for-1 kill ratio here. That's not a problem with his team. The problem is that the two T54s and the T25 up in the north failed to capitalize on their position. They failed to push into us and fight us on their own initiative, and a bit of a stupid little jump from me there because I didn't realize there was a cliff. And they also failed to reposition somewhere we couldn't just dunk on them. Now that Wheezy 120 with me, he has the stock gun. He is basically a GIMP Type 59. So this isn't like he was fighting a fully upgraded Wheezy 120 and a 54, which would be a legitimately scary fight. He was fighting an upgraded 54 and a stock Wheezy, as well as TJ's IS-8. He could have repositioned, run south, picked a better place to fight us. He could have even pushed into us and focused down TJ, get his big gun out of the game, and then kill me, or even focus me down first. This is the problem. If you are in a medium tank and you allow yourself to be stuck behind a corner and just peeked and poked with, you're throwing away any initiative you have. And this is why medium tank drivers need to be all about aggressive positioning. You cannot cannot play defensively in a medium tank. It just does not work. Defensive, when I hear the word defensive in a medium tank, I envision somebody moving around the map using positioning and camouflage to their advantage. You may have seen me do it a couple times in some of my older videos. You've probably seen really good players do it whenever they're one of the last people standing in a medium tank. Instead of trying to fight something face first, you'll find a way around it, go around, shoot from one side. Once it's looking that way, go back around, shoot the other way. You really have to know how to position to actually leverage the most out of your tank. You cannot get into a static corner fight with a medium tank. If you do, you may as well be playing a heavy. It's simple logic. So I doubt either of those 54s are watching this, but in case they are, don't let yourselves be pinned down like that next time. Find a way around or seize back the initiative by pushing. It may have looked like they were at a disadvantage there, 2 tier 9 mediums and a tier 7 TD versus 3 tier 9s. But honestly, a lot of people underestimate the amount that you can gain from just pushing on somebody. A lot of time, well, perhaps not this time because it was me and also the player in the Wheezy was quite good, but a lot of the time if you are in that kind of situation, you're pinned down by somebody, if you just push into them, especially if they're bad, which most people who play this game are, you can actually come out with the upper hand, even on a lopsided fight like that, simply because a lot of the time, if pubbies get pushed on, they lose the ability to focus. They can't focus fire, they can't figure out where things are, it's like their little brain fries. I used to see it a lot when the T-54 was still the new thing. It was really scary to face, especially if you had a full platoon of 3 of them. Quite often I would see pubbies just either suicide their tanks into water, back then you couldn't, disregard that, quit out of the game, or just break down and not be able to focus targets. Chaffees, same thing. When the Chaffee was still new to the game, you'd have 3 of them, wait a couple minutes and then blitz down a flank, get into the enemy base. They would not have a clue what to do. They wouldn't be able to focus fire anything. You still get it now. This is where the drowning thing comes in. My apologies for fucking that up. If you get a medium wolf pack onto one tank, they're going to just go drown themselves a lot of the time, or they're going to panic and spread damage, which is no good because it doesn't take a gun out, or they will actually focus one tank and let the others get out okay. In this case, if those 254s had just focused down one at a time, it might have been a big help to them, particularly considering they had a JT further down who could have actually finished off whoever was coming down. Obviously a JT88 is going to have a little more trouble, but I mean, if he'd pinned me out in the open, he could have easily finished me. So, moral of the story, mediums are about initiative, don't lose it. I hope that hasn't been too disjointed. I don't script any of this. I know some people do, and I work better off a script because I don't have to stop and think about what I'm saying, and I won't run my mouth and say something stupid like, ooh, back when the T-54 was new and tanks were drowning themselves because there was no physics engine back then. Fucking idiot. But, you know, I don't put the time and effort into these because, frankly, it's not my job. I just put these out here because I like doing it, and hopefully some of you can learn something. Feel free to explain in the comments what I'm actually trying to get across here if you feel that you can do so in a less confusing way. Anyway, thanks for watching. As ever, best of luck in the field, and I will catch you next time. See you later.